Today, we have the Spindrift Knight Eula. Did you know Eula enjoys things that are cold? Not just a cold drink, but also a cold wind, or even a cold dip at the lake at the bottom of Dragonspine. But be careful, she might drag you in. No, really, she said so herself. Be very careful. Be very, very careful. Vengeance might be hers. Eula has the role of a DPS, and being a DPS, I run the Snow Tomb Star Silver on her to give her more physical damage. Because she's a cryo unit herself, you have the chance of also getting the Icicle, which deals more damage with cryo. This weapon's also good because you can build this weapon pretty much for free as long as you do the Dragonspine quest and open up the secret door in order to get the chest. Also aesthetically, I think it looks pretty good with her. For my artifact set, I have a 4-piece Pale Flame, also with an off piece here for physical damage, but don't pay too much attention to that. The stats I have for Eula are HP, attack percentage, physical damage bonus, and crit damage bonus. What I'm trying to do for all my pieces is making sure I have crit rate and crit damage in order to maximize the damage I get with the crit damage piece. You could run crit rate or crit damage. If you get crit rate, try to get crit damage as a substats here. If you're running crit damage, try to get crit rate as a substats. Even I'm needing to reroll for a couple of these, but right now these are the current pieces I have. Starting with Eula's normal attack, we have a 5 consecutive attack strike. Now, she does get a double slash in between this, and I do feel like her attack is a bit faster than more Claymore users. It's either that or we're just getting more attacks in between. For her E skill, we have the Ice Tide Vortex. After pressing E, Eula does a slash that does cryo damage. This stacks a Grimheart, which you'll see over her head after she prompts a move. Every Grimoire she stacks raises her resistance to interruption and her defense. Then if you use a second slash, she'll stack 2. After stacking 2, you're able to hold her E, and then it will drop both swords upon the opponent, which will lower their physical resistance and cryo resistance. This attack will do cryo damage and do a physical attack blast. Eula's burst, Glacial Illumination, is at first a slash that does cryo damage. Afterwards, you get a light fall sword that goes behind you, which only lasts up for 7 seconds. As you are attacking, the sword starts to build extra bonus damage, and at a certain point, either reaching the maximum amount to the bonus or the time limit, it will explode. Now, doing this attack will stack 1 Grimheart over her head, raising your resistance to interruption, and also allowing you to stack a second Grimheart easier in order to do the full hold, which will lower their physical resistance, and if you can get that in time, the Lightfall Sword will have maximum damage from its explosion. The passive talent Rolling Rhyme is what gives you the explosion after holding Ice Vortex. And her last passive talent is the thing that also gives you the 1 stack of Grimheart, while also resetting your cooldown for Ice Vortex, which is very good. Also keep in mind the level of my talents, 8, 5, and 7 currently. So now we're going to look at Eula's basic attack string. Now it says 5 hits within the string, but she actually gets 7. We're going to count it out here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That's one of the greater parts about Eula. You can get a lot more damage from her as a unit. The best thing to do is to run Eula with the cryo user to buff her crit rate, and also if you run a Rosaria who also gives crit rate to other units, you can make sure that her crit rate goes up and up. That is if you're running crit damage like I am. So let's do this. So we know that raises Rosaria's crit rate. My Eula's normal crit rate is at 31%, and now it is at 39 because of the buff. We might not be able to see all the damage right now because it's better to prompt with bosses, but this way you can make sure that her regular hits get their full damage from each swing. As you can see, she does around 8,000 a swing when she's critting and about 2,000 when she's not. Try not to hit this bomb, but yeah, that's probably going to happen. This is the reason why I put a lot of talent material into her regular 5-string attack. So before I go over and demonstrate her E skill, I just want to show you what it looks like. When she does that, she gives a slash, and as you'll see over her head in a second, the Grimoire that appears over her head, which gives you more resistance. Let's try it on him, big boy over here. So there's 1 sword that prompted over her head just a second ago. Here's the second one, so now I have max interruption resistance, and also my defense is up. So if I hold E like this, I drop 2 swords, and then you get a little explosion. As you can see there, it did 14k. And so this probably is a good way to show her ult as well, or at least part of her ult. So I can press E here, and then if I press her ult, I get a second Grimoire. Now I'm going to show you the burst by itself in a minute. I just wanted to show you that you can stack here. So what we're going to try to do here is I'm going to try to demonstrate the burst on a boss, just because sometimes if you use her burst, either the initial swing will kill, or you might kill trying to build up to the biggest damage you can get. So we're going to try to mimic my 100,000 from the earlier showcase that you guys saw earlier. What you want is an electro unit that can give superconduct, so that way it lowers resistance to physical damage. Also, if you like Bennett, Bennett can buff attack as well, but I'm not going to try to use this one. I'm still getting used to Bennett. Other great thing about Eula here, physical damage does work on this. Does not seem to work on the Pyro Flower, though. Okay, great. So if I use Rosaria here, drop this off, let Lisa do a little attack here, swing once, swing twice, now I have double Grimoire, it resets, use my E, and then just build the sword to do its maximum damage before he gets all the way back up, and 138k. Isn't that insane? Her ult's pretty straightforward. You press Q, you get a large swing, does cryo damage, and as you can see behind her back, there's a small sword. The more damage you do to your opponents, the larger the sword will grow before it explodes and then does physical damage. Now whenever you press her ult, like I said beforehand, it gives you one of the swords above her head, so now I have two because it automatically counts for one. What I like to do is you press E before you use your ult, then when you get the second one, you can just press E and hold it, and then go into your Q for free damage. As you can see, that already does enough damage itself, let alone the burst as well. I find the burst mostly useful for bosses. With smaller characters like this, it's like, yeah, I could press Q, and I can wait. I can do this, but if I press E again, he will basically already be dead. You see what I'm saying? So, do I have any real negatives about Eula? I wouldn't say so, except for the fact that sometimes if you're not used to having a unit that you have to get in close with, that can be kind of a struggle for used to playing bow or catalyst users, and it can be a little frustrating for the first couple of times. You're going to need a decent healer, so Chi-Chi, Jean, or Bennett. I am trying to run Bennett on her for her healer, and I also feel like the pyro damage buff also can help. It's really up to you guys what you want to run with her. I also like the fact that as a unit, I can basically use a bunch of free materials to make her ridiculously OP. Like, she is so strong to me. I'm not so sure what the general consistency is. I'm pretty sure I think most people enjoy her for her damage. But, like, it's just insane what she can do. I'm fighting units that I really shouldn't have much effect against since they're all cryo. Doesn't seem to bother me much. This is Gone You, I'd be kind of stuck with the fact that her regular shots can do damage. But that's going to be her main option, is like, oh, well, I need my cryo damage. Here, I kind of have two answers. I can use my cryo damage, but if it doesn't work, physical damage is always available. Physical damage users are just a lot more useful than characters that are only going to rely on elemental attacks, just because you can get all the damage you need from them at any time. And it's just nice to have two options versus only having one option to work with. Honestly, it almost feels like I'm playing Dynasty Warriors while I'm playing with her. So that's, like, amazing. I really do enjoy her as a character. I enjoy her as a unit. And as a DPS, I think she does it right. Again, it's just about the same amount of healing. Shield units would also be very helpful, just because you will most likely take damage while using her in the front. That'd be, like, the only con I can think of. But that's just, you know, it's par for the course. You can't have the unit be so OP that nothing touches them and they do all the damage in the world. The Spindrift Knight is pretty spectacular. The vengeance truly will be hers. Hopefully you enjoyed this video. Sorry again about the AMV parts, but just for a while we probably won't be doing them. That way you can just get quicker onto the builds that you want to watch. Be sure to subscribe, help me get to 1,000 subscribers, and I'd really appreciate it. Have a good one. Lightning Brigade out. Vengeance will be ours.